I'm here doing the Arcadia to Nelly Bay walk. I've never done this walk before, but I googled it and saw some pictures, and it looks like there's some nice overlooks up at the top of the mountain here. So I'm just gonna hike to the top and hopefully find some compositions for sunset. It's a pretty nice day, nice and sunny. A little bit of clouds over to the west, but mostly blue skies. So I'm gonna hike this trail, search for some compositions, and hopefully take a photograph at sunset. So I started this hike from the Arcadia side. I'm not gonna do the whole hike to Nelly Bay because I parked at Arcadia. So if I go to Nelly Bay, I'll have to hike back. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna hike to the top of the mountains and some of these viewpoints up here. I'm not sure what to expect since I've never been here before, but hopefully I'll be able to find something and come away with some sort of image. It's still a beautiful hike though, and a nice day. Pretty hot, but it's not too bad. You get used to it after living in the tropics for a few months. Actually, for almost a year. So I'm taking this detour. There was a sign that pointed to a spot called the Sphinx Lookout. It's about 200 meters off the main trail. So I'm gonna go check this out and see if there's any compositions. I've Googled this lookout before, and it didn't really look like there was anything to photograph, but I'll still check it out for myself because maybe I'll be able to find something, and if not, I'll just keep moving on down the trail. This is a pretty impressive view here. To the east, and then we have Arcadia down there and Alma Bay. But unfortunately, I don't think it'll be good for a photograph. I'm just not seeing any compositions that stand out to me. Maybe that rock right there, but it's not really that inspiring. So I think I'm gonna head back, keep going on the trail, maybe find another lookout or just another spot to take an image. But still a pretty nice view. I'm seeing all these plants here. I'm not too sure what they're called, but they're pretty interesting. Some more right there. But unfortunately, I can't find one with a clean composition because all the ones that I found are just kind of blended in with all the green and everything in the back. So if I could find one solitary one kind of out of the brush and everything, I might try and photograph it. Because I do think they're very interesting. And it seems like the higher up I get on this trail, the more there are. So hopefully as I keep going, I'll find some more. And one with a nice composition so I can take a picture. Because they are pretty cool. So I'm not having too much luck finding one of those trees or bushes to photograph. We've got some over there. That one actually looks nice with some light on it, but there are a lot of distracting elements, so I want to try and find one solitary one by itself so it can be a nice clean image. And also I gotta find one that'll be getting light too as the sun sets. So it is pretty challenging. Oops. It is pretty challenging to find, and I don't know if I'll find it, but I'm still hiking up the mountain here, and maybe I'll get to another viewpoint or some other composition. But yeah, it's a nice hike, nice and pretty steep, so some good exercise and some nice views through the trees as well. I don't know if you can see, but we got Horseshoe Bay down there. So we're getting some pretty nice views up here at Horseshoe Bay. But unfortunately no compositions. Just too many trees and such in the way. So I'm still going up, so hopefully there's some sort of lookout point or some big rock I can climb on and get a good look of down there. But so far it's not looking too promising, unfortunately. So I've decided I'm gonna turn around and head back. I couldn't find any composition, couldn't find any lookouts because the trail's already starting to go down the mountain. So I'm pretty sure this is as high as it's gonna get. And I've hiked about halfway, which is about 3 kilometers. So I don't really wanna hike any further because then I'll just have to hike that far back in the dark, which I'd rather not do. So I'm gonna head back and hopefully find a composition on the way back. Maybe just something with those trees that I was looking at earlier. I saw some things that might work, but it's not as perfect as I'd want it to be, but I'll still get the camera out and see. So yeah, it's just about a few minute walk down the trail because we only have about an hour until sunset. Ooh, but the light's looking so nice on the mountains. Well, I guess that image turned out all right. I ended up using my 50mm prime, which I still needed more zoom, so I had to crop the image in a little bit, but it still really got that dramatic light on the mountains. But it was a challenging image because it was such high dynamic range, because the sky was real bright and I was shooting towards the sun, and the foreground was still getting light, but the sun was just way too bright, so it was washing out the sky. But I mean, an okay image, nothing spectacular, and the spot's not worth waiting for sunset to photograph, because soon the light's all gonna be gone, then we'll have no light on the mountains. So I'm gonna keep heading back down, keep looking for compositions. About 40 minutes till sunset though, so I am kind of losing time, so I need to hurry a bit. So I ended up running back here to Sphinx Lookout. What I got is I just have Alma Bay in the foreground and these mountains in the background. But there's just some real nice light on the clouds in the background. So I decided to take an image. But I'm still not too happy with it because I have no sunlight in the foreground. But the clouds do look real nice. So I'm just bracketing my images at f11 ISO 100. I have my 35mm prime on here, and I'm going between 1/4 of a second to expose for the foreground, and then I'll do 1/10 of a second for the mountains and the clouds in the background. Focusing just on the point there. And then I'll mask the two exposures together in Photoshop to get a more balanced exposure. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for blue hour after the sun sets, and I'm going to see if any lights come on down there in Arcadia. And then when the lights do come on, I'll take some pictures, and I'll blend those pictures with the sunset, with the color in the clouds, and with the bracketed image for the foreground there. And just do a time blend tonight. So still have maybe a few more minutes until they come on and the sun fully goes down. And I'll just take a few more pictures until then. So some of the lights down there are starting to come on, so I'm going to start taking some images. I'm not sure if the town will really light up because it's a real small town. But right now I'm shooting a 4-second exposure, ISO 100, f11. And it's real windy today, so it's very important that I have a sturdy tripod. Otherwise it will have camera shake using such a long shutter speed. And it's hard too since I'm standing on this deck, so I gotta make sure when I take the image I don't move, or again it can cause camera shake, causing the image not to be sharp. And where I'm focusing is I'm just focusing on the rocks down there in the bay. So it's pretty much giving the image sharp all throughout, except for these trees in the right because it's so windy and I'm shooting at such a low shutter speed. They're really blurry. But I think that's alright, it kind of looks a bit interesting. So that's all for today's video. I'm still gonna wait just a little bit longer, I think, to see if any more lights in the town come on so I can blend them into the image. But I'm still not too optimistic, even if more lights come on, that it'll add interest to the image, because there's just not that many buildings down there. Still nice to just get out and have a good hike. Well, I really hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.